Big Questions with the Dead Milkmen. Oh, I didn't see you come in. Okay, tonight's episode is entitled I Hated This Album, which is an homage to Roger Ebert's book, I Hated This Movie. And the question itself is, what's an album you strongly dislike that the rest of the world seems to love? What's wrong with this album? Can it be fixed? What albums released around the same time are vastly superior to this smoldering piece of crap? So the album I went with, and I'm probably not going to surprise many people, is Fleetwood Mac's Rumours, because there is so much to hate on this album. There is so much. It is the worst album possibly of all time. I want to start with the production. The production is that dead 70s soft rock production that you get on like the Eagles Hotel California or Bob Seger's. I don't know what Bob Seger's album was called, so I'm just going to say Bob Seger's I Am the Hillside Strangler. I don't know. But yeah, it's that sort of it literally sounds like shag carpet, wood paneling, and cocaine.
I was going to say, if you open up the record sleeve and check it out, there's a big pile of cocaine comes out of it.
The weird thing was I found out that while they were making the album, they were doing cocaine out of bottle caps. So if I had to say one positive thing about the album, at least their drug use was environmentally friendly because they were recycling. So yeah, kids don't do drugs unless they're biodegradable. That album sounds to me, seriously, if I close my eyes, it would sound like it was recorded in a ski lodge in Aspen, Colorado, while Gerald Ford worked the console. It literally, close your eyes, that's what it sounds like. Musically, there's music there, I can say that. Not really that great or engaging. It's kind of pushed back to the where it becomes wallpaper, which might explain why hipsters love this album, and they do. And the lyrics are the most offensive thing. The popular philosopher and cartoon character He-Man once said that punks are nice people pretending to be bad. Hippies are bad people pretending to be nice. And that's what the lyrics are in this album. They're kind of upbeat, like, I'm just secondhand news. You can go your own way. You make love and fun. But the thing is, they're all passive aggressive. They're songs about screwing other people sung in a band with the people they had just broken up with. For example, Secondhand News is basically Lindsey Buckingham saying to Stevie Nicks, hey, I'm banging somebody new. And the other one, what is the name of that damn thing? You make love and fun. That's Christy McVie singing to John McVie about the guy that she's banging, who I believe was their lighting director, and saying how much better he is than her ex-husband who's over there playing bass. I live in South Philadelphia. Okay, if I want to hear couples fight, I'll open the fucking window and just stick my head out. You're seeing that whore again, aren't you, Angelo? Aren't you? So that is just literally, I can't imagine putting this album on at a party. It's such a buzzkill. And I just want to say something else I thought about the song You Make Love and Fun. This gave me a new theory, that this album takes place in an alternative reality where BDSM doesn't exist, because I cannot imagine Leather Strip or Platt Bleg or the Genitorture singing You Make Love and Fun. So yeah, lyrically, the less said lyrically, the better. The weird thing is this album came out in February of 1977. Do you know what other albums came out that very month? Television put out Marquee Moon. The Damned put out Damned, Damned, Damned. The first Cheap Trick album came out, I think maybe the same day as Rumours. Yeah, that's the album with He's a Whore and Hello Kitties on it. That is a freaking great album. These are all albums are the sound of people trying to erase all that California soft rock sound, trying to wipe it off the map. And they would have gotten away with it too if it weren't for those meddling kids in the entire music industry, because the music industry loves this album. Like, I thought if you would have asked me in 1990 about Fleetwood Mac Rumours, everybody would laugh and say, well, we'll never have to hear that again. But no, it's like the Jerry Seinfeld thing about magic, where he says magic is basically, here's a quarter. It's gone. You're an idiot. Now it's back again. You're a moron. End of show. That's what they did. The music industry brought back in, I think it was 2004, they re-released Rumours on vinyl. And yes, nothing says commitment to music like that. And the weird thing was that you kind of can't blame them, because if you look at the bands that were out there at the time, like Best Coast, Tame Impala, St. Vincent, The Kills, they all sound like Fleetwood Mac, which explains why I own no music by those bands and never will. Even if I lose a lawsuit, I won't buy anything by them. Also, when they re-released it, this is, of course, the famous Pitchfork effect. Pitchfork gave the album a 10 out of 10, a perfect 10 out. I give Pitchfork a perfect 10 out of 10 on the shittiness scale. But if you go back and you read the review, it is unintentionally hilarious. The author of it was trying to skirt the issue of the fact that punks hated this album. And so did a lot of music critics at the time. This is back when music critics did their job, not like now. And so they hated the album. So the way the author gets around that is by saying, and I'm paraphrasing here, this might seem like the antithesis of punk rock, but Rumours was actually a big influence on punk musicians like Billy Corrigan and Courtney Love. Yeah, when I think of punk, I don't think of like Killdozer or X. No. It's Billy Corrigan and Courtney Love. Same way, when I think of aggro tech, I immediately think of Air Supply and Cher. So sure. In closing, I have so many problems. This album will not die. It will not go away. It's since the music since industry owns all of the reviewers now, or most reviewers now, this is what music is going to sound like forever. If you want a picture of music's future, imagine Stevie Nicks' shawl being shoved into a human ear forever. So in closing, I would just like to say that Lindsey Buckingham sounds a lot like Lord Buckingham, doesn't it? And wasn't Lord Buckingham the man that we think was most likely to have killed the princes in the Tower of London? You know, I'm just going to say, if you like this album, you're okay with child murder. Thank you. Who's next?
I prefer Bill Hader as Lindsey Buckingham.
Yeah, Bill Hader on Saturday Night Live has so much fun. I always love it when they do that and they don't let him say anything and he keeps getting angrier and angrier. That's become such a great meme. And Lindsey Buckingham. I'm sorry we didn't get to you again tonight, Lindsey.
Joe?
Does anybody have any thoughts? Does anybody actually on the panel actually like Rumours?
I'm not a big fan of it. I used to own it, actually.
I think everybody. I think it just they would slide it under your door. Yeah, my older sister owned it. I think. Yeah. I think legally you had to own it if you lived in the suburbs. Like on Wayne's World, they said Frampton Comes Alive was delivered to your house with a sample of Tide.
Well, I do enjoy watching the classic albums of the making of that album, but I don't enjoy the album itself. Also, from 1977 is the album that I hated. It came out in September of 77, and you probably won't be surprised. It's The Stranger by Billy Joel.
I love you.
It sold 10 million copies, according to Wikipedia, and it's one of Columbia's best-selling albums of all time. And it just seems like everybody except me and Rodney, I don't know, other people, and nobody in our band likes this album, but I searched online for a bad review. I thought it would be easier to find one, but I couldn't find. In fact, Pitchfork, that Rodney mentions, I thought they would at least give it a bad review. No, they gave it an 8.5 out of 10. And
have you ever seen their like year-end best of list?
I don't know. So yeah, I'm sure there were bad reviews when this album came out, but I didn't find them. I didn't unearth them. But what don't I think Billy Joel writes catchy songs. He's a strong writer of good melodies that get stuck in your head. But I think his problem, at least with me, is at the level of the lyrics. When you actually get down to hear what he's saying, he doesn't sound like someone I want to hang out with. He sounds like an angry person, very opinionated. And he complains a lot. Even in even in the love song, Just the Way You Are, there's a subtle complaint in there about his lover not loving him, not believing in him the way he believes in her.
It also says, I don't want clever conversation.
No,
imagine saying that. That's how you're in a relationship.
Because he doesn't want to work that hard.
Yeah.
Kind of lazy. He doesn't. Yeah, he sings about the rat race, moving. He'd rather, if that's what moving up is, going to break your back and you're going to have a heart attack, he'd rather just move out. He doesn't want the brand new Cadillac. But of course, in real life, he moved up quite a bit by making this album. It made a lot of money for him. It put him on the map. Really, he only had one hit before this. It was Piano Man. He would have been a one-hit wonder probably if not for this album selling so much. But for my advice that he's not going to listen to would be, do what Elton John did and get yourself a lyricist, because your lyrics suck. That's all I can say. But and it's an unpopular opinion because he had a lot of success after this, but his lyrics never really got any better. Like Dean mentioned in a previous episode, lots of good albums came out in '77. Rodney mentioned Marquee Moon by Television. That's a great album. Another one is called Pink Flag by the band Wire. A very good album from start to finish. Also the Dead Boys, Young, Loud, and Snotty came out that year. So
Second Bill Hader reference. Bill Hader as Stefan talking about how to do Billy Joel's The Stranger. Wait, hard to see. And Joe, is that the album that has the song?
Only the Good Die Young. Yeah, he complains about Virginia not putting out for him. Catholic.
Do you know he originally tried to do that? It's like a reggae song with a fake Jamaican accent.
No, I didn't know that.
A band member had to stop him and say, even like back then, he's like, no, not cool.
It's not
cool.
Work.
No.
Although Elvis's album came out around the same time, and he has some kind of white reggae on there. My Aim Is True.
Yeah. Oh, you mean
Elvis
Costello?
His first album came out. No, Elvis. When I say Elvis, I usually mean Elvis Costello now for some reason. Yeah, I'm done.
Well, I thought it was good.
So the album I chose was The Dark Side of the Moon by Pink Floyd. I don't know. I feel like just about every person I meet has some kind of, at least like, oh man, I used to get stoned and listen to that album or something. I listened to it before I ever got stoned and I thought it was boring. And I listened to it after I got stoned and I thought it was even more boring. I feel like it's like an album to put people to sleep. Maybe even in the future to like euthanize people while watching The Wizard of Oz. I don't know. I don't even care about that. I don't care, even though that's cool, I don't care about it. I hate that album. I love Piper at the Gates of Dawn. I think Pink Floyd's worst mistake was basically destroying Syd Barrett's mental health by, dosing him with acid.
They did that to him.
I think he did that himself.
Yeah, well, it's just that's what I heard.
What did he
Later
do?
that day, they were sued by Pink Floyd.
Well, Syd Barrett's dead now anyway, so I don't know. It just seemed that way to me. Just seemed like maybe he already had some problems, and they were like, hey, "It's time to get out." But I don't know. All their music, I could have chosen any of their albums after that.
I would choose The Wall over Dark Side of the Moon personally.
They're just boring. Yeah, I don't know. It's I don't even care to know what year that came out. 72, 3 maybe, because like there's a ton of Bowie albums that came out around that time, and Queen. Like I don't know why people are bothering with this. What I think they could do to change to make it better was to see what maybe Syd Barrett would do with that album.
I think around that time, Syd was having conversations with trees. Dan, I have
like, I don't know if it was that album or another one that he visited the studio and he was like an overweight, like bald man. They didn't even recognize him.
That's on Wish You Were Here. When he came in, they were like, who's that weird guy in the back with like, heavyweight with shaved eyebrows and everything? They're like, oh, it's Syd. Yeah, that was after Syd had tried to he was making an album of his own or something, and they wanted him to type up the lyrics, wanted someone to type up lyrics. So the guy typed them up, but all he had was red ink and typewriter. And Syd thought he was being handed a bill for some, like studio time or something. And then he tried to bite the guy's fingers off.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
I heard a story that like one of the last times that he practiced with them before they kicked him out, he was showing them a song that was called Have You Got It Yet? And every time he played, he would like start playing it and they would start playing along. And then he would stop and be like, oh, wait, that's not it. And then he would start it again. And he did this like a half a dozen times. And he was like, it's called Have You Got It Yet? And they, I guess, kicked him out of the band. I don't know. I'd heard that they would like dose him because they liked how funny and weird he was when he would be tripping on acid. So they would like put it in his morning coffee and stuff. Which, if you don't know you're taking acid and you take it, I don't know. You might end up like Syd Barrett.
Possible. I've been trying to raise money for 10 years now to do a thing called Turkish Side of the Moon, where I get a bunch of people together and we play Dark Side of the Moon. We'll have to make it fit along in time with the Turkish Wizard of Oz. Turkish Wizard of Oz, I have been obsessed with for like easily 20 years.
I was just thinking, I remember you telling us about all those Turkish movies a while ago.
Yeah, Turkish. Yeah, but I could. What?
Wasn't there a Star Wars one or an ET?
Turkish Star Wars? Turkish Exorcist begins with an actual dead dog in the street. Yeah, Turkish Star Trek has nudity in it. Yeah, they got to be. They're fantastic films. But yeah, I would love to do like my one concession to Dark Side of the Moon would be to do Turkish Side of the Moon.
Well, Rodney stole my thunder because Rumours was my choice too. So everything that Rodney said. I mean, we were in high school and I was in high school in 1977, and you couldn't get away from that album on Philadelphia Rock Radio. So why would you listen to Rumours by Fleetwood Mac when you could be listening to Rocket to Russia by the Ramones that came out that same year? I'd rather listen to Teenage Lobotomy by the Ramones than Dreams by Fleetwood Mac. Everything that Rodney said about Rumours is true.
There's a whole bunch of 20-year-olds out there that like that album, and
I just can't understand. I could not understand the resurgence and the popularity of that.
I want to shake them because it's like I could write a list of just off the top of my head 100 fairly new bands that they could check out and would probably love, but nope. It's this is my theory that people always talk about like how evil, like they'll talk about how evil the fossil fuel industry is, and they'll say, they're running a pipeline right through a bunch of Native American children, right through that, or the pharmaceutical industry, like they're charging my grandmother $900 just to look at a bottle of pills. But nobody talks about how evil the music industry is. The music industry engineered Fleetwood Mac's Rumours coming back and people spending money on vinyl so they wouldn't have money to check out anything new. It's their biggest fear is that you're going to like something that doesn't sound like Fleetwood Mac. So yeah, I think we've just proved the music industry is evil.
Is that the album where he's like holding testicles or something?
It looks like he's got truck nuts. You know what I mean? You ever see like truck nuts?
Yeah, unfortunately, I have.
Yeah. That's the album with the truck nuts. Somebody probably thought that was clever and daring. Don't forget Sandra Bernhardt's famous piece, My Date with Stevie Nicks. Another great. And I've got nothing against Stevie Nicks. She was good on American Horror Show, or whatever. Why am I forgetting the name of that? But anyway, she popped up in one of the seasons. So yeah, I give her some props for that. So, okay, folks, just so you don't think we're a bunch of negative Nancys, the next time I'm back, mine will be, we loved it, you hated it. These are albums that we loved that either critics or the public at large did not cotton to. So, and it could be critics might have loved it, it didn't sell, or nobody wanted to touch it but us. All right. So we'll be telling you stuff we like. It's positive. All right. So moving on now to recommendations. First thing I'm going to recommend, Boy Harsher have made a horror movie. Remember, Boy Harsher sound nothing like Fleetwood Mac, so you can enjoy them. They made a horror movie that you can watch on Shudder. It's called The Runner. And it's about 40 minutes long. It's a short horror film. I have not, Vienna and I have been meaning to sit down because it just appeared. It appeared, like a horror movie. We've been meaning to sit down and watch the whole thing. I've seen enough clips of it that it looks really, really good. So hooray for Boy Harsher making a horror movie. As we all know, dark wave band Boy Harsher, or as Paste Magazine says, synth pop band, because Paste Magazine is populated by idiots. Up next.
Didn't the Foo Fighters just release a horror movie too?
Oh, I thought that was a Saturday Night Live sketch. I thought I dreamt that.
I don't know.
It looks like the worst thing ever. This might be the thing. Dave Grohl seems like a nice guy, but this might be a thing that finally ends the Foo Fighters. I don't really care for their music. And I saw the thing for that. And I thought it was like an AT&T ad because it looks like a commercial. It's like, oh no, we're making our 10th album. And he starts playing some songs like, fellas, what do you think of this? I'm like, Dave, you wrote that song in like 1997 or something. I'm like, since I know none of his music, I didn't get that joke. And yeah, I saw that too. And I thought it's like their horror comedy. This is like the difference between the Foo Fighters and Boy Harsher. The Boy Harsher film will be good. I don't, just people, no, don't. So I will recommend there's something that does look like it came out of film school and took some work. MacGruber. The MacGruber is now a series. It's on Peacock, and it is brilliant. Out of every half-hour episode, at least 10 minutes is Will Forte's bare ass. It is the dirtiest show on TV. Kristen Wiig gets all the best lines. She was describing MacGruber as, he was my mentor, my first husband. He took both my virginities. It is really, really good. So yeah, go definitely see MacGruber. In the movie, the bad guy was called Kunth, and this one he's called Queeth. You cannot make it. It's like the best combination of like highbrow and lowbrow humor ever. And since last week's episode didn't quite make it to 100 views before 1,000 views before this one. I'm going to do it again. I'm going to recommend Producing Heavy Punk on Inexpensive Gear, the Manny Nieto interview and LA studio tour, which I will recommend every week until one of these hits 1,000. So get your friends to watch it if you're tired of hearing that.
Remember, everybody, subscribe to our channel, please.
They always say that. Yeah. and buy war bonds.
I recommend a product that I use and enjoy, and it's a art marker.
Oh.
And they're called Caliart art markers. They're alcohol based, so they smell kind of cool. And what's cool about them is they have two different ends. One's a broad felt end, and the other is a very thin end of the same color. And the other cool thing about them is they're very inexpensive. You can get 100 of them for about $40. So that's what, 40 cents each, 100 different colors. And each one has a different number and a letter. So you can organize them however you want. So that's what I recommend for a low budget, cool art marker experience.
And they can easily be turned into a prison shank. You'll wind up spending some time in the shoe, but it's worth it to stick it to the screws.
I'm not sure how that would work.
I'll tell you after the video.
You just rub it up really fast against something for a little while. I would like to recommend something which I think I just did like a couple months ago, but it's been updated. My son's YouTube channel, Just Some Animations. He's added a couple more since the last time I recommended it. He's doing great. He's 13. He's developing his own characters and his own style. And he's like finding ways to kind of expedite the process too. Like he's figuring out little tricks and stuff with his animation. I don't know. It's really cool watching him kind of learn this stuff on his own. I give him ideas every once in a while, or sometimes the one video I did the sound for it because it was like in a grocery store. So I just like at the checkout, I just like recorded sounds. But yeah, that's my recommendation.
My son Rudolfo has fled to Switzerland, where he can't be extradited from. Proud of you, Lloyd.
I would like to recommend something that I heard about just moments before this call. Something that I have not even tried yet, but the concept is so brilliant to me that I think it's probably really good. The title of it is Falling Asleep to Fake Baseball. This guy creates these fake baseball games where he announces them kind of like, and we have the guy in the batter, and he has like crowd noises and stuff. So you can just put it on in the background and you can like nap on the couch listening to fake baseball. They're fake teams. He makes up all the players. You don't have to pay attention. You don't have to care about the game. I think it's just a brilliant concept. So I'm going to recommend it. And hopefully I'll try it between now and next week.
Something like that happened during the baseball strike. They found a guy to create a computer program. I forget what year the big baseball strike was. And he created, and so they would announce the games as the computer program thing did it. And there was at one point, the computer program decided that there would be a bench clearing brawl. The algorithm would come up. So one of the players was injured. So NPR interviewed the player interviewed in the fake bench clearing brawl. It was one of the great. I mean, they tried to get him to donate afterwards, but they really did interview. It was,
you got a free mug.
What? Yeah, a tote bag. I need a Totenberg. Ned Pudding, the best NPR fake name.
That's right.
I'm Ned Pudding.
So anyway, I think it's a great concept, and I can't wait to try it out.
I want to hear that so badly. I really do. Right.
Have you ever heard the guy who tells meandering stories to put you to sleep?
No,
hey, watch it, buddy. Okay, you can go ahead and use my name.
Not Rodney. It's a podcast specifically meant to put people to sleep.
But are the stories true and make sense, or are they just kind of?
No, they don't make any sense. They're designed to put you to sleep.
Kind of like the show.
or kind of like sleep stories. If you have the Calm app. But Vienna and I was talking to Joe about this earlier. Vienna and I fall asleep to horrible stuff on the Discovery Plus channel. The worse, the better. And their paranormal section is just terrible. It's, I mean, it's going to be bad to begin with, but they have this guy who goes around trying to get in spiritual contact with different serial killers like Ed Gein. And he was after the Gainesville Ripper. And the unfunny part is the Gainesville Ripper would actually cut the nipples off some of his victims. So he's talking to this woman who lives in the house where the Gainesville Ripper shot his father. And he says, have you and your husband, who's not there, ever experienced any paranormal, activity in this room we're in the bedroom? And she goes, oh, yes. One night, my husband woke up yelling at me, saying I was trying to pinch his nipples. I'm not doing it justice. It's even better.
Okay.
I'd fallen asleep, woke up for a minute, heard that, and still went back to sleep.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you. And I'm drinking a Down the Rabbit Hole. It's a carrot cake beer.